Hi, this is Denise Jarrett, and I'm coming to you from greatestcourse.com. I want to come to y'all today and tell y'all more about what's going on. And excuse me, bear with me as I put this together. This is a PowerPoint I have. I broke down some of the stuff that's going on in New York with New York's issue with polio in the water. Polio is the infectious disease, and how polio affects heartbreeders is if it's in the water. Remember, the scalp has pores, and if it's in the water, it can be absorbed through the skin and in the pores. So, I would advise people to really watch out for um, when they taking baths in it. And people like to co-wash and shampoo while they in the shower, or in some salons they come in and you shampooing her is coming through your fingertips. Everywhere is porous. Okay, the skin is the most vulnerable organ in my eyes because it's exposed to all of the elements plus all these chemicals and bacteria, funguses, and everything else. So yes, the scalp is a part of the skin, and it can absorb water. And if it's an open sore, anything like that in the scalp, it can penetrate to the blood vessel, and we don't know. Okay, I don't know anyway. They don't know either, I don't think. But the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is saying that New York has polio in the water, and it's not the regular polio. So I have took out some of the slides and I'll go over them with you. I put it in the link to the full video that they have for the doctors as well as the public, and all of the slides. It's like over 86 to 100 slides, I believe. Kind of got this one confused with the other one, but it's enough slides, so I pulled out 29 over here. And in that day's session, this is what they were claiming they were going to accomplish. This was shot on September the 1st. So this is for everybody to know that this is not the regular polio. This is the paralytic polio. This is the one that makes you paralyzed. Okay? So this is how you are recognizing diagnosis. These was the objectives that they wanted to accomplish, which was the history, the incubation period for the transmission, and the impact of the polio vaccination. All right. This is what they say the polio bacteria looks like. It's the RNA. There are three types of this polio, and the immunity of one type does not produce significant immunity to the other stereotypes. So one of them is not really doing acting right in the stuff in the research. Right here, this is a 21-day paralyzed episode. This is how this happens. This is the incubation period. 3 to 6 days is non-polio polio, so you really won't feel it. By the 7 to 21 days, you'll feel some onset of the polio stuff, mainly in the gastro system, like fever and all this stuff. It said it invades the blood system and infects cells in the nervous system, motor neurons, and you get distinctive paralyzed after them 21 days. The poliovirus is highly infectious. Take a good look at this. Highly infectious, okay? It's person to person spread. Polio is in the fecal and oral routes, okay? So in the mouth, fecal and oral pathways in the settings, patients are most infectious during the days immediately before and after the onset symptoms. But the virus, remember this is the virus. The judge said we needed to know the virus is bacteria, fungi, and stuff like that in order to refuse a claim. This is the problem. So excreted and may remain present in the stool for up to 6 weeks. sometimes longer, can shed to individuals with minor symptoms and no illnesses. There are two types of polio vaccine, the IPV and the OPV. Really in America, it's only one that they're using, and it's the IPV. IPV shows you right here, it works on all those little different stages, I guess. Stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, just like these right here. Okay, this is the one that they're going to use on you, the inactive polio vaccine. So when some people say the vaccine got the thing in it, this is one. Polio is one of those ones that got the thing in it, but the thing has been inactivated, meaning it don't work. Like you have to activate your phone and you have to cut it on. If you didn't cut it on, it was inactivated, so it's inactivated. Now this inactivated polio vaccine can be chemically killed with this stuff right here, 1, 2, 3 doses of this. The virus cannot be eradicated, cannot reciprocate, infect, or cause any disease once this person has this stuff in it. That's what it means by it's inactive. Okay, it induces effective new hormonal in the blood immunity, but limited intestinal mucus gut immunity, prevents paralysis. So in the blood, it stops, it puts the immunity. And remember what I always talk to y'all about is blood-borne pathogens. So yeah, this thing is highly infectious. It's everywhere. They say it's in the fecal and the oil, because if the person have a high fever, then they can excrete it if they got the mucus that this stuff is talking about. So it's going to be airborne too. Then it's in the blood. The only way they able to kill the blood one if you get this shot. Okay, only vaccine currently used in the U.S. since 2000. The reason why they telling you this, you're going to see later on down here, these other people that came from different countries, and some people that had the polio vaccine a long time ago didn't get this one. They got the OPV, which would still onset. Okay, this one right here, the all OPV vaccine was a live attenuant vaccine, contained live weakened poliovirus. So this was the ones that people were saying that it was in, that it was live. This one was live when everybody had got the little drops in their mouth back when people was little and stuff. This is the one that can still go back. Replicates in the drugs in the gut shed stool, prevents paralysis, transmission of polio, given orally 2 drops. Okay, the vaccine of choice for developing countries or countries experiencing polio outbreak, if allowed to circulate in under-immunized population for long enough, can revert to a form that causes paralysis. Okay, so all these people that came from different countries, all this kind of stuff. This is what, so if they in New York, I'm just telling you, y'all that's heartbreakers, if you didn't have this, and remember this stuff is in the water. So yeah, you saying I had a polio, I did this, you both had this all. So you need to go and line up very fast as soon as you can if you're thinking about it. I don't know, this is just what I'm saying, and allegedly for what I'm reading, I will get down there and get me whatever I need. I don't know. Okay, because this is the paralytic polio in U.S. decreased rapidly after the introduction of the vaccine. So it went down 1955. Okay, the old one came in 61. It dropped it. Wow, it messed up the wild type. It's another type that's out there called the wild type. I ain't gonna go into that one with y'all. Cut those slides out because I'm just giving y'all the basics, because that one was really, really high level. Like I said, it was targeted for the healthcare workers. I just follow this healthcare worker thing since we are utilizing the needle and we do deal with the public. Okay, so, and in America in 1994, they done certified America as polio free. This stuff done come back, 2000, it done come back on us, okay? So this is the case identification. We leaving from the beginning of where we found out that it from the CDC. Now we're going to New York slides. As you can see, a case of paralytic polio in New York, 2020. So in New York, this is the case. It was an unimmunized Immune incompetent young adult. Develop a fever, neck stiffness, back pain, abdominal constipation. 3 days later, develop lower extremities weakness. 2 days after that, the weakness spread and the went into the emergency room and admitted into the hospital, right? The patient was discharged to a rehabilitation center. Listen to what I'm saying. Now, that's 5 days or something. Then it was in the hospital. Then it was discharged. Okay. Then the clinicians was aware of the advisory disseminated by the New York State Health Department in late June, reminding healthcare providers to submit specimens of this stuff. So then that's what led them to find this case in detection of this polio. All right. Now, no international travel doing this. This was this was what they found out from the person that had been in the hospital, then been in the rehab. Still supposed to be trying to get rid of being paralyzed. This is a good 2 weeks to me. Because in the rehab, they figured it out. Said, now let's call these people. So then it said this person had did no travel for 21 days for the onset of the paralysis. But they had attended a gathering 8 days before the onset. So they had attended a big gathering somewhere that could give off this stuff as well, and had then incubated it in the hospital and incubated it and shared a virus in the rehab before anybody caught it. All right. So this is what the epidemiology investigation and response unit is doing down there in New York about this highly infectious disease. Remember that. So you need to watch it. The education and outreach, they engaging with the healthcare providers. They driving immune vaccine, deploying vaccine in effective areas, initiating completion and primary series and urgent on one-time administration childhood vaccine series, combating the delays, and boosting individuals with high risk of exposure, individuals in contact with the case, and some healthcare. So even though you already had whatever the hell you done had, they want to boost you some more because this one is in the water. I don't know what's going on in the water. I'm gonna do the other ones about the water, but I just felt like New York was next, the best one, and Baltimore is next because they have E. coli in their water. Now look at this. This is the epidemic investigation and the surveillance of this and how they surveilled it. How they surveilled it was the disease. They enhanced the surveillance on the environmental positive infectness of it. The prevalence of asymptomatic infection was at 70%, and the wastewater surveillance was in the Rockland County and the surrounding areas. So it's mainly in Rockland County. Okay, that's basically why I probably pulled this side to let y'all know. This is the paralytic prevention is this poliomyelitis and reporting for the public health. Okay, this is y'all chief right here for y'all can get in contact with that knows about what this is. This is how the infection goes in. It comes into your spinal cord in this blue box right here in this gray area. It makes you paralyzed, and most cases are in children, but adults infected are more likely to be paralyzed, not the kid. All right. The symptoms of this polio is onset active flaccid limb weakness in the gastro 1 to 3 weeks before you develop the illness, and weak onset fever accompanied by back pain and pain in the limbs. Okay. The onset weakness is rapid, it's loss of muscle tone, weakness in the lower extremities, and the bulbar, that's a different kind of this polio, presents a cranial nerve finding and can lead to respiratory. That's when I'm telling you it can be in the droplets of the air stuff, just like COVID and everything else, because it'll present respiratory weakness and a hoarse cry in infants. Over here, you can look at this diagram of how I tell you some of the people might experience this pain in the neck, drooping eyes, facial drooping, swallowing or slurred speech. Right here, these are the methods for prevention for family members in the case of a patient. They ain't telling you in the case of just regular people, but yeah, in the case of regular people too. Ensure that the household contacts are up to date with the polio vaccine, hand washing with soap before eating and assisting. But the problem with me is the hand washing with the soap and water. I don't know what the water got it in it. So I don't know what they talking about. Okay? But you're gonna have to get some outside water because it's in the water. So what is hand washing gonna do unless you have some antibacterial highly control soap or something? I don't know. But monitor the household contacts for infection and shedding the stool regardless of the vaccine status. So whether they got the vaccine or not, they saying it could break through, so monitor for this infection. Now, the Immunization Service Division of the CDC. This was like a compiled 3 to 4 different people talking in different slides. So I just compiled them all together, like I said, in case you just came in to the live. So I wanted you to know this is what this is. The clinical outreach and communication activity, they calling it COCA down there. Okay, so this is how you're going to do the polio immunization routine for kids. If a kid was to get it, because they telling you to watch the kids at the school water is in the water. So you got to watch everybody, at least in Rockland, they need to be watching everybody. So this is the doses. It's 4 doses, and you get them all the way up to you 6 years old. So you can't be missing none in between once you start getting this stuff. And polio schedule combination viruses. Here it is again. They have a link there. These are the recommendations for people that need to catch up. In case they got some of it but need to get some more of it, they need to catch up in order to travel to polio academic area, right? So this is the way you catch up and how you get your dosages in these ages for these kids that's there that don't have it. They at least trying to cover the kids. This is 1 dose after the age of 4. They explaining everything for the kids. These are for people that was outside of the U.S. that it was administered the OPV one. This is how they telling them that it was a prevalent called OPV. That was the name of the actual drug, and they were saying that if you used it throughout they was used throughout the world from April 2016. Persons 18 years old and younger with doses of this do not count towards the U.S. vaccination requirement to receive the IP, the catch-up schedule. But only the people that's older than 18 that was outside of the U.S., they need to book them a date, get them a test done, and get the catch-up schedule. Okay, this is for the adults and adolescents. The adults and adolescents who are unvaccinated or have incomplete vaccination for poliovirus should receive a catch-up immunization. Period. They ain't said nothing about no dates in between, which kind you had or how you had it, didn't have it, none of that. If you had incomplete or you never had nothing, you need to be getting there and getting the vaccination as an adult, because this is the one that paralyzes adults. Adults can increase the risk of exposures. Okay, adults can be at increased risk of exposure. Laboratory workers holding their specimens, healthcare personnel treating patients who have polio or have close contact with persons who can be affected with polio, travelers in areas of this area. I look at us, healthcare workers, as healthcare workers, because we don't even know what's going on with the person, but they sitting in our chairs, fabrics, we using needles on these people, and we in close contact with them. So now this is the schedule for recommendations for unvaccinated adults. It tells you they're gonna get it in 4 weeks, 6 months. Okay, and this is all brought to you by the emergency cdc.gov/COCA. So it's not the regular CDC. This is an emergency. They want to get this out to everybody that this is an infectious disease, polio. Okay, And yeah, I just wanted to come to y'all. Like I told y'all, I'll be coming to y'all, bringing y'all infectious disease press for hair braiders. I am Denise Jarrett. I help braiders get online training certification to open their own salon today without a license. You can contact me at www.braiderscourse.com and get your certification today. I thank you for watching, and for more updates like this, please click here, like, subscribe, and please share this with anybody that you know that's a hair braider. Again, go out and sow a good seed. Bye.